Everyone who eats carrots will die. And that's what we call correlation. There are a lot of things which correlate with the rise of Alzheimer's, but not everything causes it, except one global thing which does. But you can flip the script if you start now with a couple simple rules like the 5-minute rule and the 8-8 rule, which is, as Peter Attia said,
when you're starting with an absolute risk that's as high as AD that's like having a winning lottery ticket in your pocket and just not knowing it.
Alright, in today's questions and answers, we'll look at the science of brain health, Alzheimer prevention, and we'll use common sense and apparently carrots. So, if you look at what causes dementia in the first place, the top 3 things would be inflammation, neuroinflammation. Second would be bad fuel partitioning, problems with switching from blood sugar, glucose, to fat, ketones, and lactate, which becomes a problem if you develop insulin resistance, and then you just don't get enough food to your brain cells and your brain starts to suffer quietly. Also, to get all that fuel to every cell of the brain and remove toxic waste, you need to have a good blood flow, blood perfusion. And those 3 things, if we combine them into one diagnosis, they all fall under your metabolic health. But unfortunately, metabolic health goes down across the board and correlates closely with the rise of Alzheimer's and also heart disease and cancer, the black riders of premature suffering and death. And like carrots, carrots are good. So the trend is there because of the conditions around you and it pushes everyone. But there are a couple things, as I said, you can do to revert the trend locally, in your family, with your friends, and you can do it. And just for reference, when you apply every trick, you can even slow down and revert early Alzheimer, as shown in this study from George Washington University. And let me know if you want a deep dive into that. I can bring the medical director for the interview, I know him. And the study itself worked with people who already had mild decline and implemented quite advanced protocols such as reCODE and Bredesen. But we are talking right now about prevention, which is much easier because if you start today, you have much longer leverage. So I want to touch on 2 obvious things and 2 not so obvious ones, but still pretty simple to implement. And the obvious one, you need to have your weight under control, especially your visceral fat, because not every fat is bad. Subcutaneous is actually good, but when it starts to spill over into the organs, that's when you run into multiple problems, just like that. Water in the bathtub is good, but when even a little bit spills over into the floor and the ceiling, it's a disaster. But you can easily check yourself with a DEXA scan in a hospital or a special location. The scans are usually done to check the bone density, which is a good thing to know as well. But you can have 2 for 1 and also get your muscle mass and fat distribution checked. So, the visceral fat should be under 1 pound, or better yet, under half a pound, so like 200 grams. And second thing, you obviously need to exercise. The tricky part is, of course, to do it. And the key is to have an activity which you cannot fail. That's how you trick your emotional brain. Let's say you put yourself on a schedule for 5-minute walk daily. You couldn't fail that. Put your walking shoes and get out for 5 minutes. And if you do just that, you will be miles ahead of most people, because when you get out on a schedule, once in a while you'll be like, I'm already out, so let's keep walking. And suddenly you're doing great things for yourself. And if you look back from the future to this day, when you have joined the longevity movement, you'll be amazed by your success. And then success leads to more success, and you find yourself doing resistance training and skipping rope. And those were obvious things. Now, not so obvious. Number one is checking your environment. Are you living in an old house and have mold issues? Like from water spilling somewhere? Are you living near a big road and have air pollution? Do you have lead overload from that or other heavy metal toxicities? The useful tools are Purple Air Map and Environment Atlas. I'll leave the links below where you can check the general air quality and targeted ones like cancer risks and neurological risks in your area. And if it's bad but you cannot change the location, you can at least have in-house air filters, and when you do get out, try to go out to a park. And of course you can and should work on improving your own detoxification systems, such as internal glutathione production, that master antioxidant. Eat more broccoli, cauliflower, garlic and onions, which is double whammy for the weight control. Small tip here for broccoli and cauliflower: if you steam them or cook them in any way with temperature, you lose a critical enzyme called myrosinase, which you can reintroduce back with a pinch of mustard. And glutathione also requires a well-ticking methylation cycle. Methylation is involved in DNA activation, energy production, and detoxification, which is, in a triple whammy, critical for brain health. The easy test to check your methylation is called homocysteine, and that should stay under 8 micromole per liter. Another 8, critical 8, is omega index. You need it to properly build brain cell membranes. And that's fish, not big one, mind you, because heavy metals, but smaller like sardines and salmon. So the 8-8 rule is to keep the omega index above 8% and homocysteine, the marker of methylation and inflammation, under 8 micromoles. 8-8. And the huge one, which deserves its own chapter, is sleep, which I bet you already know is very important, but I knew as well, however, was struggling for most of my life, until I implemented the cake system. Living is smart, aging is bad, so let's talk sleep here, because you have to nail it for everything.